You are surrounded by people who love you, and you feel nothing, not sad, not angry, just quiet, like someone turned the volume down on everything around you. You are not alone because no one is there. You are alone because you cannot feel them. They're laughing. You're laughing too, but you're not feeling the laugh. You are producing it. And here's the cruelest part. You know they care about you. You know you're safe. You know this is exactly the kind of moment that's supposed to feel good. And it doesn't. You're not disconnected from them. You're disconnected from the signal. The loneliness you feel in that room, that's not the problem. It's the symptom of something that happened long before tonight. Something your brain learned to do to protect you, and something it never learned to stop. Chapter 1, The Room. You're sitting at the table. Someone is telling a story you've heard before. The kind of story that makes everyone lean in. The candles are lit. There's food on the table. Someone refills your glass without being asked. These are the details that are supposed to mean something. And you notice them. You register them. You could describe this scene tomorrow with perfect accuracy. But you're not inside it. You are present in body, absent in experience. Someone laughs, and you hear the sound before you feel anything about the sound. Your face does something appropriate. Your body leans slightly forward. All the signals are correct. But behind all of it, something is flat, like a screen showing warmth, instead of actually generating it. You try to locate the feeling. You know it should be here. You have all the ingredients. People who showed up, people who chose to be in this room with you, people who, if you called at 2 a.m, would answer, and still, flat, quiet, empty in a way that makes no logical sense. The moment is real. Your access to it is not. You tell yourself you're tired, or distracted, or just having an off night. But this isn't the first off night. And somewhere inside you, you already know that. Chapter 2, The Wrong Answers. Your brain has already tried to solve this. Here is every explanation it has offered you, and why each one is wrong. Wrong answer 1, these are the wrong people. You've felt this with different people, in different cities, at different stages of your life. The people changed. The feelings stayed. Wrong answer 2, you're just introverted. Introverts feel drained by social interaction. They don't feel nothing during it. There is a difference between needing quiet after a party and feeling like you are behind glass during one. Wrong answer 3, you're depressed. Depression is a clinical state with a specific symptom cluster. What you're describing is selective. It happens in groups, with people you trust, in moments that should feel good. That pattern points somewhere more specific than depression. Wrong answer 4, you're just not someone who connects easily. But you do connect. You have moments where it works, one-on-one sometimes. Unexpected conversations with strangers sometimes. The capacity is there. It just doesn't activate on command. You're not feeling nothing. You're blocking something. The problem isn't who is in the room. The problem is what happens to you the moment you enter it. And what is happening has a name. And once you see it, the feeling in that room will start to make sense for the very first time. Chapter 3, Maya. I want to tell you about a woman named Maya. Maya is 34. She has a group of friends she's known for over a decade, people who genuinely care about her. She has a partner who is present, attentive, and stable. By every external measure, Maya is surrounded by connection, and she feels alone. Not always, not in a way she can easily explain, but consistently, in group settings, in moments that are supposed to feel warm, something in Maya just goes quiet. Maya spent years assuming she was simply wired differently, that she was someone who experienced life at a slight remove. She called it being internal. She called it being an observer. She went to therapy. The therapist asked about her childhood. She talked about her parents. The sessions were useful, but the feeling in the room didn't change. What changed everything was one session where the therapist asked a different question, not about her past, about the feeling itself. When you're in a room full of people and you feel nothing, what do you do with that feeling? Maya said, I push it down. I focus on the conversation. I tell myself it's not the right time to feel whatever this is. And the therapist said, so you've become very good at suppressing an uncomfortable feeling. in social situations. What if the system you use to suppress that one feeling is the same system that registers warmth? You didn't lose the ability to feel. You learned to stop it. Maya hadn't lost the ability to feel. She had learned to intercept it. And the intercept system didn't distinguish between the feelings it was supposed to block and the feelings it was supposed to let through. Chapter 4, the mechanism. Here is the mechanism. Exact. Clean. Your brain processes social emotion through a system you don't consciously control. It runs in parallel to your experience, beneath it, alongside it, never directed by it. You don't decide to feel warmth at a dinner table. It either arrives or it doesn't. That arrival is regulated by a part of your nervous system that operates completely below your awareness. But here is where it breaks. When a person learns, over time, that strong feelings in social contexts are unsafe, the nervous system does something adaptive. It turns down the signal, not permanently, not completely, but enough to reduce the exposure. This isn't loneliness. It's filtered experience. It's called affect suppression. Affect is the raw emotional input, what you feel before it even becomes a labeled feeling. Suppression is the automatic process of intercepting that input before it ever reaches full conscious experience. Psychologist James Gross at Stanford University has studied this extensively. What he calls emotion regulation, and specifically the suppression strategy, is one of the most common and least recognized patterns in people who grew up in emotionally unpredictable environments. This doesn't require trauma. It only requires learning, at some point, that strong feeling in front of others carries a cost. The brain suppresses not to be cold, but to be safe. But here is the part that no one explains. You cannot selectively numb. When you turn down pain, you turn down everything. The same system that intercepts loneliness and grief and the ache of being unseen also intercepts warmth, belonging, the particular feeling of being in a room with people who would walk through fire for you and knowing it in your body, not just your head. You know, intellectually, that you are loved, but you can't feel it, not because the love is absent, because the receiving system has been turned down. You are not broken. You are protected, and the protection has become the problem. Chapter 5, what it's costing you. Stop here for a second, because this is the part that needs to land. The system isn't protecting you anymore. It's just running. And everything it blocks now, it was never supposed to block forever. You have had moments in your life that deserve to be felt. Moments that will not come back. A specific sunset you watched with someone you no longer speak to. A kitchen at 2 a.m. where everything was funny. A version of yourself you can't quite find anymore. A person who loved you in a way you may never find again. A night that was perfect, by every measure. A version of yourself at a specific age, in a specific place, that existed only once, and you were there. But the receiving system was turned down, and those moments passed through you without fully landing. You're not missing the moment, you're missing your own life. And here is the specific cruelty of affect suppression. It doesn't announce itself. It doesn't feel like loss, in real time. It just feels like nothing. A flat evening, another okay night, a gathering that was fine. The grief comes later, sometimes years later. When you look back and realize you were there, you have the memories, you can describe every detail, but you can't remember what it felt like. Because the feeling never fully arrived. That's not a personality trait. That is a system running on a setting it was never supposed to stay on permanently. And the people in that room with you, they can feel it, not consciously, but they feel a slight distance, a warmth that almost arrives, a connection that gets close, but doesn't quite complete. They reach for you, and they feel the glass between you, and they don't know why. and neither do you. Until now, because if any of that landed, the grief of looking back at moments that passed through you without fully arriving, I want to say something directly. That is not evidence of something wrong with you. That is the most human possible response to learning that your receiving system was turned down. The question now isn't how you got here. The question is, what changes when the system starts to turn back up? Chapter 6. The moment the signal went quiet. Here is where it started, and it probably wasn't where you think. It wasn't a single traumatic event. It was a moment when you felt something fully in front of other people, and it went wrong. Maybe you cried at something that everyone else found easy. And you saw the look, not cruel, just surprised, off. Like your reaction was slightly more than the situation called for. Maybe you got excited about something, really excited, and the room didn't match your energy. You came in at a 10 and everyone else was at a 4, and you felt the gap. And it felt like being wrong. Maybe you loved someone out loud, and they didn't meet you there. And the exposure of that, the rawness of having felt something that fully, and not had it received, left something in you that decided, never that open again. You didn't learn to be numb. You learned that feeling was expensive. That full feeling in front of other people had a cost. It made you too much, or too visible, or too vulnerable. So your system made a deal. It would still let you function, still let you participate, still let you produce the appropriate responses, but it would add a buffer between what you feel and how fully you feel it. And the deal worked. You stopped being too much. You became someone who could handle things, who didn't get too excited, who didn't need too much, who was fine. The cost of fine is that everything else becomes fine too. The dinner table, the people who love you, the moments that are supposed to land, all of it, fine, managed, buffered, present in the room, absent in the feeling. Chapter 7, the experiment. Here is the one thing that actually shifts this, not a mindset change, not a communication technique, one physical experiment. Next time you're in a room where you feel nothing, don't try to feel more. That is not the experiment. Trying to generate feeling is like trying to force yourself to find something funny. It doesn't work, and it makes everything worse. Instead, do this. Notice the flat feeling. Don't push it away. Don't label it as a problem. Don't try to explain it or fix it. Just locate it in your body. Where is it? Physically? In your chest? Your stomach? Behind your eyes? Just sit with the location for 30 seconds while the conversation continues around you. What you're doing is something very specific. You are removing the buffer for just a moment. You are not suppressing the suppression. You are simply stopping the active intercept long enough to notice what emotional input was actually there. Because the warmth in the room is real. The love of the people around you is real. Your nervous system has been intercepting it before it arrives. The experiment is letting it land, even a fraction of it. Even just once. You're not trying to feel more. You're trying to stop blocking what's already arriving. The flat feeling isn't the truth of the room. It is the cost of the deal you made, and you can renegotiate. This won't feel dramatic. It won't feel like a breakthrough. It will feel like a small, almost imperceptible softening, a slight reduction in the flatness, a moment where something almost registers. That almost is the beginning, not the destination, the beginning. Because the system that learned to intercept didn't build itself in a day, and it won't dismantle in a day either. But every time you notice the flat feeling and stay with it, instead of pushing through it, you are telling your nervous system that what's arriving is safe to feel. That feeling this, here, with these people, will not cost you what it once cost you. And slowly, over time, the system recalibrates. You are not missing the ability to feel. You are missing the permission to. The room has always been full. The feeling has always been there. You learned to intercept it before it arrived. And now you know that. That is not a small thing. You are not missing connection. You are missing access to it. And once that comes back, the room won't feel empty anymore. You will. If this video names something you've been carrying quietly for a long time, leave one word in the comments. Just one. The feeling. The room. The moment you realized you were producing the laugh instead of feeling it. You don't need to explain it. The people reading the comments will understand exactly what you mean. And subscribe. Not because this channel has answers, but because next time, we're going into why the people who need the most love are often the ones who push it away the hardest. It goes even deeper into the same system.